All right, so this was my wood before I coated it with the Spar Urethane, and this is it after 2 coats. It went on much easier than I anticipated. However, there are certainly some do's and don'ts that we'll go over now. Here are the directions if you want to pause that to check them out. The directions themselves had me a little bit nervous because of how specific they were on what to do, and I really just didn't want to mess this up since it was my first time actually using it. Now, I had used polyurethane before, but not this one, not the Spar Urethane, so wasn't sure how it was really going to come out. Now, the first thing that you're going to want to do is give it a light sand, and this is very important. You want to get any abrasions or any sort of imperfections off the surface. And then you want to simply go as few coats as possible over the wood so that you can get a nice, even, flush coat. It's not going to work like paint where you brush back and forth. I mean, it certainly does and it certainly can. However, 1 or 2 brush strokes in the direction of the grain is really what's going to put this on evenly without any sort of bubbling, without any sort of overlap or too much buildup in any one area. You don't need a whole lot. And as you can see, this sign has the numbers on it. Don't remind me. I don't need to hear in the comments that I should have taken the numbers off or I should have done this before I put the numbers on. I'm well aware that I should have done it before. However, I wasn't planning on it, and they don't come off very easily once they're on there, so I just worked around it. At the end of the day, this was a project sign, and I don't really care if I screw it up too bad. It's pretty easy to remake, so not a big deal. But in any event, as few brush strokes as possible, and making sure that nothing clumps is really going to be what's key. I do have a few things that I did wrong or that happened that I'll show you here in just a minute. And that was after the first coat, but as you can see, this is what can happen if you're not careful and you don't clean it up. That the spindle coming out of the wood there caused a big clump, and so I did take a paper towel and mop that up. As you can see, as we freeze it here, there's some bubbling, so you want to make sure that you work any of those out with your brush, but then with the first and second coat, if you're doing 2 or 3 coats, you can also sand them off. So you just want to be cognizant of it in the beginning so that on your final coat, it doesn't happen to you. And then we're going to want to sand it down using a very fine 120 grit sandpaper. You can tell it doesn't look very good, but that's normal. That's how it's supposed to be. Once we get all of that off by wiping it off with the paper towel, we're going to get any of the excess sawdust and dirt and dust off there, and then we're going to repeat the exact same process. I only do it 2 times, but you can do it 3 up to 4, probably even more. The directions say wait 2 to 4 hours in between coats. I've also heard you can wait up to 24 hours, 48 hours, just to make sure. And it is a little bit sticky the first time after the first coat. However, after the second coat, it pretty much lost most of that stickiness. So I was really happy with that. And as you can see, this is the semi-gloss. I did also buy a satin finish that I'm going to test. But this is not high gloss and it's not satin. It's a semi-gloss, so it's a little bit shiny. The gloss is going to be a lot more shiny. And I just really didn't want that, so I kind of got the in-between. But I'm also going to test that satin as well. And this is it. And that's it in the sunlight. Looks really good. You can tell it's much better protected. And frankly, the Spar Urethane was really easy to use. So reach out anytime, questions or concerns. Always look forward to being a resource, and hope you have a great day.